Welcome to Hollywood Deli. I'm your host, Blue. So listen, we're going to talk about them. You know who we're talking about, Little People, Big World. And so Zach and Tori gets into the specifics of their departure from the show. So we're going to sit and listen, hear what they got to say.
Are we coming back to Little People Big World?
We're not, and we
No,
made
we are
that.
not. That chapter has closed.
Zach and Tori Roloff saying goodbye to Little People Big World.
It took me to finally say this is done.
Yeah.
Out of other people in the room, multiple people, not just the family members, it was finally like, this is nonsense.
Yeah.
This is out of control.
It's definitely been a journey and a lot of positives along the way.
The couple announcing their exit on their Raising Heights podcast just days after the premiere of the TLC hits Milestone 25th season.
It's just not needed.
It'll never be what it was, unfortunately. But I do feel like it was also time for us to move on because I didn't want, personally, to hate your family.
A major storyline in recent years, Zach's ongoing feud with his dad, Matt Roloff, over the
That's a strong word, to hate your family. So let's talk about that. Tori was the one who wanted Zach to go after the family home. Zach never really cared about it. He never put his bid in for it. Tori always made it very clear since day one of dating Zach that once she was on the farm and she saw the farm, this is and met him, this is the place she wanted to be. She was very enamored with the farm and wanted that farmhouse. And when Zach couldn't get it from his dad, she turned to hate. Like so, because he couldn't, because the dad wouldn't give you what you wanted, you hate him. Never mind, he didn't mistreat you, didn't mistreat your children, but because you didn't get what you wanted, you hate him. Like Zach, you need to pay attention to what your wife's saying.
future of their family's Oregon farm.
And Zach's a grown man and with his own family, his own priorities. So, I, as the father, totally understand that.
The little nuances and annoyances, then the family, dealing with the family dynamics. It's just time. In my opinion, we needed some adults in the room,
Yeah.
myself included. And we did not have that, and we've been searching for that for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's time to finally say
I
no.
think that there's been a lot of cases that accountability was not taken.
I think, whatever resolution there may be, that'll probably really be between Matt and Zach and how that develops and grows. And I mean, it's definitely forever change. It'll be different.
Yeah, it's different, and now all behind.
Oh, it's not between Matt and Zach because Zach's wife is interjecting herself into that. She's the one who pushed for them to leave the show because she's mad and she's pissed she didn't get the farmhouse. And my whole thing with them is you don't this in this thing called life, sometimes you don't get what you want. And yes, it was wrong of him to like speak on legacy, knowing that he wasn't ready or not even ready financially couldn't give y'all what y'all were looking for because he needed to try to take care of himself. Like Matt was self-employed for a lot of years, so he didn't have what Amy had, like a pension lined up. So I believe that the house, selling the house for the price that it was for his long-term planning and for his retirement. And they didn't understand that when Amy left him, well, not when Amy left him, he left Amy. He left a lot of her benefits, like the pension and all that retirement. He didn't. I don't think he got a piece of that. So, and partly because of how much money they were making from the show, and so he didn't have that backup plan. So he was asked out. He had to figure out a retirement plan, and I think that house became his, and that land became his retirement plan. And he did put a lot of the family money into it, and so yes, they should be entitled to something, but not all of it. And so, from my understanding, it's 100 something acre farm, and that the house sits on maybe like 16 acres of it, and that's what he's selling. He's not selling the entire farm, so they stand to still inherit. Like I think they were saying like 90, 94 or 94 acres or something like that amongst all or 40 kids, so split. They would have got probably like not 30, 20 acres apiece, which ain't bad. And so, but that's not what Zach's wife wanted. And so, because Zach's wife didn't get what she wanted, now she hates the family. Now she, wants to get off the show because she don't want to hate the family. It's like, what? It all this over some land, like that. Technically, your father brought, and yes, he used family money to invest in it, but your mom also put a lien on the property because he had to take a lien from the property and pay her. So it's not like it's all his fault that the finances was messed up. Like sometimes plans change, and it's not like y'all were in a messed up situation because y'all were getting your own show money. Y'all went off and bought a nice home. So I don't understand all this animosity. It's giving greed and just like spoiledness.
Behind closed doors.
I'm not saying I'm not doing TV again or media again, but it's not under the context of Little People Big World.
Little People Big World premiered in
They want their own show. And I'm sorry, I wouldn't watch a show with them, just those two. They're boring.
2006, so for Zach, he's lived more years on screen than not.
You can't let that stuff bother you.
I don't.
He joins his siblings, brothers Jeremy and Jacob, and sister Molly, in stepping away from the show, leaving only their parents, Matt and Amy, and their new partners to star on a potential season 26.
I never thought we would go 25 seasons. Maybe in the beginning they wanted to see
That's
what the
impressive.
little people are doing. But I think after a while, they began to see an element of themselves.
We'll probably talk about this more because it was such a big
It
part.
was such a huge part. I think that, again, we're excited for the next journey. We're excited to move on. And yeah, it was a good run.
It was a good run. Yeah, we'll see what comes up next.
And for what I think our show's done for the dwarf community too.
It's made people aware of dwarfism.
I'm aware, but also like inspiring. A lot of like, for me, it's the young boys, the young teen kids that are like, wow, you got married, you had kids. That's all possible. You can have a family. So yeah, that's definitely been,
I mean, they sound like they have a plan. They sound like they have some kind of plan to make an income. I hope they have a plan. The way this economy is messed up, Tori, you might need to go back to work. Tori's a teacher. She might be able to make like 50, 60,000 a year. Zach, I don't think he ever went to college. I don't think he has any type of trades. So I am very interested to see how they're going to maintain this lifestyle they have because where they live is expensive. And so maybe this podcast will take off. Now, I did put out on my podcast, Hollywood Deli, on Spotify. I put out a poll, and I asked people, would they listen to Tori and Zach's podcast now that they're off the show? And 100% of the people that responded said yes, they would watch it. So maybe the show, maybe the podcast might take off for them and create some revenue because Kale Larry from Team Mom quit Team Mom and says she makes more money off the podcast than she does being on Team Mom's show. So maybe that's what's going to happen for them, and I'm hoping that's the case. But I do think hating Tori, hating the parents, getting off the show because you're going to hate them because you didn't get what you want. I just think it's tacky. Like they put you in a good position, like you joining their family and them allowing you to be on the show because that's essentially what happened. The parents allowed you to be on the show and they, made you a household name. And then for you to just turn around and say, well, I want to get off the show because I don't want to hate your parents. Like that's just a strong word. And I think it's ridiculous and immature, especially for her age.